Hey, it's Kimberly Smith Austin. I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Made to Inspire podcast. I am here with my awesome and amazing co-host, Misty Kerrigan. Hey, Misty.
Hey, Kimberly, are you enjoying the vibes of summer?
Yes. I can't believe August is upon us, though.
The one thing about summer is it goes so fast. Just like we talked about last week, though, TGI summer is that there's so many great opportunities here in summer when it comes to your time, your growth opportunities, your influence, and really great ways to rejuvenate your business and kind of
Mhm.
rejuvenate yourself. And
Yeah.
just take the time in summer to really have that investment. But there's also some bad news of summer. Some
What's that?
challenges of summer is that
Mm.
the very thing that TGI that helps us with all the rejuvenation and all the growth, it also brings challenges.
Ooh. Sounds like a relationship to me. You know, when I counsel people and I'm talking about relationships, we recognize it's the thing that attracts us to that person, their charm, their energy, all this great stuff. Sometimes on the back end, it's that same stuff that says, man, I don't like her. She's too talkative. She's too extroverted, and so we think about that. So you're telling me the same things that were making our business amazing, the opportunities could be the same things that create obstacles for us. Is that what I'm hearing, Misty?
Absolutely. Because the sun's out longer, we push things off sometimes. We say, I'll do it later, or I'll need more time to do it. These days are dog days of summer. You've heard all the
Sure.
things where
Sure.
it's just you think we have more time than we do. And then sometimes we have these great growth opportunities, but we
Mhm.
put a little more into relaxing. Not that you shouldn't relax and invest in yourself. We're not saying that. What we're saying, though, is maybe that extra hour by the pool, or instead of at the gym, or instead of reading a book, like those sort of things in summer, they kind of sneak upon us, like 4th of July, eating a hot dog and a hamburger. Out at these big events, but not being prepared, like maybe
Mhm.
spending a little overtime at events, just too casual and not kind of staying with our business. As an entrepreneur and business owner, you're always your brand, you're always a
Absolutely.
representation of it. And there's always an opportunity to connect with someone.
Yeah, that's so
But
good.
you got to be intentional, and we got to utilize some of the stuff from last week. And we really want to study what we're going to talk about today is what are the common mistakes people make with their time, and how do we
Mhm.
hack that so that
Mhm.
you guys can utilize every moment of the summer for everything you need, which is self-care, spending time with family, but not putting that business on the back burner and come August regretting some of the things, and then you're starting that next quarter kind of sluggish and upset. We want always we do these amazing summer series because we truly believe summer is the best time to work on your business, not fall. We want to fall into success because we've been preparing for it, but we want to take this time during the summer because there is so many opportunities. Now,
Ooh,
Kimberly, what do you think some of the mistakes people make? Oh,
I feel
pause,
like
go.
welcome back, Carter. Oh, I forgot what his name was, but
You
right
in the
now,
back. Like
oh,
with
oh,
your hands
oh.
up. You in the
When you
back.
said that, you made me think about a new title, Fall into the Fortune. Fall and the fortune, about how fall, we want you to make your business grow and thrive. And so the fortune of the fall season, yes, Misty, had nothing to do with what you said, but you triggered something. And I just had to say that. So your
Well,
question to me was what, Misty?
what people usually during the summer, you're a coach, you're coaching fitness, you're coaching businesses, like you said, you're coaching relationships. What do you
Mhm.
think some of the ways we waste our time or the challenges with time during the summer?
One of the things I think about is we spend too much time on something that may not have value, right? Because we get so caught up in little things, even though they mean stuff, but they're maybe not the thing that's moving the needle forward. And so
Mm.
when you realize that you have limited time, you have to make sure the thing you're using your time in is something valuable. That brings me to the 7 habits of highly effective people. And it makes me think about the quadrant that Stephen Covey came up with. And he talks about where to spend your time, where it's important, unimportant, things like that. And so when you think about the fact that we only have limited amount of time, or better yet, we're choosing to use limited amounts of time during that summer month, we have to be intentional and strategic on what we use it at, because otherwise we're losing it. Spending too much time on your emails is not necessarily the thing you want to do during your power hour, right? maybe do it when your kids are sleeping, maybe doing it when you're just zoning out for the end of the night, but really strategically thinking about what matters most, what's going to make the greatest impact, and how do I move forward with that thing. Spending too much time is a huge problem.
I love that. And it reminds me of I think it was sometime last month, I had a meeting I had to be at, an event that my friends were having the Connect celebrated their year, and I wanted to be there. I love Pearl and Jamie, they're amazing. And then Natalie, I hadn't seen her because I've been busy, and I had this one night with everything, and I had to really look at time and intention and really kind of be like, okay, I am going to do everything. I'm going to come to these events, but you know what? I'm not going to stay the whole time at these events. I'm going to come. I'm going to kind of do what I set out to do. I'm going to make some connections. I'm going to hug some people, but I'm also going to leave at a specific time. And I used to struggle with that because you know me, I love parties. I love social. I love being there. Right. And sometimes it's more important that you show up with your intentions. You kind of take them off your list. You're making who you want to meet. You're setting up some meetings for the next week with the new people that you're meeting. And then you're utilizing your time to go and do what you set out to do, which for me that night was to make some celebrate some friends, and then connect back home with my family.
So it sounds like you had your eyes on the prize. You had your eyes on the prize, and you time blocked to ensure that you were successful, because that's what it is. Even though we think about time block of different things that we do, but you said, okay, I've got 30 minutes here. I've got 30 minutes here. I've got 30 minutes of commute time to get me here to here. And that's how you master that time thing, even though you want to do it all. We know that we're limited by time. Time does not change for us. We have to fall into line with time. That's really good, Misty. I love that.
Well, and I know you said, and I'm gonna tee it up for you because I want you to talk about it. We talked about some distractions last week, but this week, some of the great things that you were able to really do is your son has some stuff that you push him into be interested in, and he has some stuff that he really loves and is interested in. And so you help divide his summer with some specific things for his growth for him, but also some stuff he's so passionate about. He loved going to camp every day to learn about it, but it was also giving him back some structure during the summer. So, you know, our kids love to game all day, but it also gave you, because you're an entrepreneur and it's not like you take the summer off. I know you move stuff around, and you already went to Montana and you ran already a few races this summer, but it did seem that you coming into summer had a strategic time plan, not just for the hours of the day, but you had like your weeks mapped out ready for summer to hit all that things. Would you mind telling us a little about that?
Well, I'll tell you really quickly, not only the weeks, but the months. So I already know going into August, I've got 4 speaking engagements. I already know I'm traveling to Chicago. I also know that I'm traveling possibly to Florida. That's a tentative. So my calendar is really my calendar. And I would encourage and advise everyone to take time to time block, calendar block, so you know where you are and where you need to be. Because here's the truth. I believe that everything's negotiable. It is, right? We are not robots. We are not robots. We are not dictated by someone else's demand, but instead by our choices. And so when I look at my calendar, I get to decide what is important and what matters most to me, and I move accordingly. So when I was invited to speak at a conference in Chicago, I said, let me think about that. Alongside that, I also know that my 35-year class reunion is in August in Chicago. So that's 2 trips to Chicago. Now, what's going to prove the most beneficial? Not that my classmates aren't important, but do I do both? Or do I go out of town with my family for a family vacation because it's the last week of the year before school starts back? My son's a senior. So you take all those things in consideration, and then knowing I got a speaking engagement here, 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 and here, I've got to work that thing around so that it becomes a win-win for everyone.
I love that. And I love it. You said something that Bill Walsh always says: schedule your success. You have to schedule your success or plan for your failure.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And I love how you just took the month out and you were looking at all the variables, you know, like next year your son's not going to be, he's going to be in college, but this year, okay, what does it look like him being a senior? What does it look like having family vacation? And family vacation is a staple for you. Yeah. Taking your family on vacation. I know that's something that you work really hard all year to make sure that you and your son and your daughter niece and your mom and her kids, that you just get to go somewhere and spend time together. Yeah. And I want to add to that because it's going to move into growth. So even during your vacation, as we go, you have the time, I've talked to you in the morning of your vacation of growth. You say everyone sleeps in.
That's right.
Everyone sleeps in. So you have this amazing time in the morning for your growth. You still do your Bible study. You still do your running. You still do your connection back to God. You still do your, okay, what are some intentions for this today? And it doesn't matter if you're hanging out in Vegas over enjoying some tennis over in Palm Springs, but you stay your routine, you stay intentional, and you stay growing. Sometimes you take a book, you have your CD, but you utilize it almost as an opportunity of growth while connecting with family. You don't utilize it as excuses like, I work hard all year, I'm going to sleep in, but you utilize growth in the area of, okay, they're sleeping in anyway, I don't need to.
Right.
Let me get me time, let me get me ready, and then I'm going to have such a wonderful day with the family.
And that's a great point that you make, and a great question, because I think when we plan for our family, that is a part of our growth strategy. We should include our family in that plan. It shouldn't be all about the dollars and cents. It has to be about, how do I utilize my time to grow personally, professionally, socially, financially, family-wise. If I go to my F's, it'll speak to that: family, friends, fitness, food, fun, all those great things. And so that is important for me. And I know if I want to maintain a healthy relationship with my family, they have to be on the calendar. They have to be amongst my list. If not, I failed. And that's one of the things I work with especially when I work with executives and leaders and organizations. They're well balanced in their career, but they're off when it comes to family, or they're off when it comes to fitness, or they're off when it comes to their food. And being able to say, hey, you can have it all, hypothetically, but we have to make some shifts here. If it's really a priority for you, if this really matters for you, make time for it. That family vacation. Even if it's a 3-day, guess what? Make it the best 3 days ever. Get unplugged and spend that time so that they know that you matter to them and they matter to you.
Growth with the family. I want to add to that, because I think you did it so beautifully, is I have sometimes random trainings come up too, like you do. And the week of my wedding, I had an opportunity to virtual into a conference, and I sat Natalie down and I said, hey, I know we're getting married on the 11th, but at the 10th from 9 to 11:30, I have an opportunity to speak at a conference. And she goes, but it's our wedding week. And I go, they're going to pay me $500. And she said, okay, but make sure you're done at 11:30. And then she said, and then you're taking me out to a nice lunch.
Hey, team agreement, right?
Team agreement. And I love that is I enrolled her in the conversation, so she didn't feel like, and I've been guilty of it though too, and I bet I want to venture that you might have too, where your family is, but we're on vacation and you're working, or you're working, we're supposed to be on vacation. But I think if you enroll them in the beginning and they're seeing that, okay, you're providing, or you do want to be on vacation, but maybe you got some loose ends to tie up, and sometimes entrepreneurial, some opportunities come up when you didn't know they were right there on the horizon. But if you get your family enrolled, there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no trying to make up for the rest of the day. We had an amazing day. And it was because I enrolled her in the conversation. And that was an area of growth for me, is to make my family part of the decisions and not where they feel like they're tied to my decisions.
Right. They're just there, a part of it, and they didn't have any say so. I remember a CD I listened to many moons ago with Zig Ziglar. And it was all about him having an opportunity to go on this vacation, this all expense, extravagant vacation. And he was talking about how our time is critical, how we'll mess around and waste time on things. But you told me tomorrow, Misty, Kimberly, I'm going to take you to Turks and Caicos. It's a $50,000 trip, but all you need to do is be ready. And if you knew that you had 6 projects that were due, maybe not 6, maybe 3 that were due, what would you do, Kimberly? Now, Misty, what would you do?
Those projects?
Absolutely. Get them done. And that's how we know we have the capacity to do things, but sometimes we prolong them. And I love that analogy, that story he told, because he says we make time for things that matter, which brings me to the fact that when it comes to the vacations and the trips and just getting your family involved, make them matter. So they understand their positioning in your life, and that you can do more together, because now they're bought in. They're like, yes, go do that work, Misty, because you just made $500 and I'm getting a great lunch afterwards. I think that was a great way to get Natalie bought in, and everybody won in the end.
And I want to do some great hacks. And one of those hacks you taught me I have a friend coming in. Donna's here from Montana, and we ate an amazing meal, and we were full, and we're right on the beach, and we could have gone and sat on the beach because it was beautiful. And we decided, let's take a walk. This is a pretty heavy meal. What if we just walk on the beach and talk instead of sit on the blanket and talk? We probably got in an extra, I want to say 3 miles, because we were gabbing and walking. But that was some of the hacks you look at. Is there's little micro choices of
Absolutely.
growth that you could opportunity. Yeah, if you relax by reading your book that helps you relax, that's amazing. And then maybe when you're in your car, listen to a business CD.
Right.
When you're talking with friends, I know when I was in employee mindset, we're like, oh, no one wants to talk about work. Business mindset. We were with a friend of ours at the mall yesterday. We sat down for 10 minutes while Donna went to the bathroom. We made 2 business deals. We were so excited, and we got in a conversation. We found out how we could we're going into a joint venture because we were just excited about talking about business. And I was like, there's a mindset. There's a mindset to entrepreneurial and always having this growth, which ties us now into the next one, which is influence.
Yes.
Where the challenge of influence could have been, I was sitting there, I could have said the weather, how's your summer, movies, but the influence I chose was to ask them about their work.
Right.
Which in turn asked them about my work, and it connected. There's something we have in common and something that we could serve together with. And I think sometimes when we influence, we start off too superficial.
Right.
And we're going to do a whole episode on this because I've been bugging you, but you are really amazing when it comes to listening and questions. And we had an impromptu interview, which we're going to turn into a podcast, and you guys are going to love it because we kind of get into Kimberly's mind here, but I'm going to throw the ball to her when it comes to influence, because I think what people don't understand, and Kimberly has this amazing thing of influence comes from listening more than it does from talking. It comes from being interested and not interesting.
That's right. That's right.
And I would love for you to elaborate a little bit on that when it comes to influence, because it's so crazy, because we're almost raised to think if I talk more and impress someone,
right,
that's not really what it is it?
Right. And, I can go back to probably 20, 30 years ago from my sales training. And that's what I learned back then, that I taught the sales leaders, sales managers, and that I even think about Zig Ziglar again. People find that the person who's the most interested in the world is not the one that was talking, but the one that was listening. And so learn that and really put it into play in my practices. Because when I realized that I wasn't the highlight, right? Yes, you're looking to learn a little bit more about me, but let me learn about you first, and then follow up with how I can serve you based on what your needs are. That then will make you find like, okay, this person heard me. They can offer me what I need. Okay, if there's a real connection, they're going. It's on. The sale is made. The deal is made. And we have come to a point. And I think that's so important, because we think about how much we've done, all the accolades and the credentials and all the great accomplishments. Now, don't get me wrong. I am proud of the work that I've done, the career and the education and all that great stuff. But in the end, it doesn't make me deals. It doesn't close the books unless I align it with this person sitting in front of me, this corporation sitting in front of me. A plus B must equal C. A plus A does not equal C. So I'm losing if I'm not really looking at how to make that equation match.
So when you're at that barbecue, put something in your mouth, chew, let that other person kind of engage and talk. The other thing that I really love is that pause. When you're influencing, a pause can be more influencing than a degree.
Right.
You were just saying, is that pausing and letting someone form their thoughts to talk. Now, the other thing that you taught me and you coach on, and we're going to add to the next episode and in-depthly, is this. When you're first meeting someone, you don't have to throw up on them. You don't have to give them all the information. Set a call and then get to know them. And we just saw that the other night, Kimberly had 10 minutes. She did a talk at this amazing group, and someone came up and they said, oh my God, I'm going to just say Susie over there could use you. You just went over, you met Susie, you set an appointment, you chit-chatted about that night, the thing, and then you walked away.
Yeah.
You didn't continue to be like, well, tomorrow we're going to talk about this, and I can't wait to talk about Maggie and blah, blah, blah. It was just like, yep, here you go. Get on my calendar. If you're very interested, I would love to. And I'll give you 30 minutes of my time, because we're all in this amazing group. And when you network and influence, you say, I want to gift you 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But you didn't stay in conversation there, Kimberly. You didn't overtalk her head and try to sell yourself.
I don't need to, because I think our time together will do that. And I start with, let me learn what are you? Who are you? What do you want to
Let me
achieve,
learn.
accomplish? And then I ask the question, why me? Why did you call me? Of all people, you could have called 17,000 people. And I think that's an important question. I know it's not for this call right now, but it's an important question. If you are looking to close a deal, find out, why did they reach out to you? What made you so special? Because once you can do that, you can then pull that into why, you're going to produce the best product for them. So there's a lot in this process, friends. But let me tell you, if you have the heart to continuous growth, for continuous learning, you will improve and you will transform your business, despite time, growth, and influence being a distraction. You can still change it and make a difference in the world that you live in and the world that's around you.
I'm gonna give you one more hack. And me and Kimberly, actually, we do all the things we say. We practice them, we learn from them, we fall, we get up. But last Wednesday, what we did is, and I do this now, even if I'm meeting by myself, create your agenda. Me and Kimberly had 4 hours together. We created an agenda on, like, I think we accomplished the 5 things we needed to accomplish, and we still had time to giggle at lunch. But we purposely planned lunch. And Kimberly put a call in. There was a pod. She said, I'm going to take a 30-minute call. And I said, that's perfect. I have 30 minutes worth of work that I'll have prepared, ready to go. So we didn't waste any time. None of us had a time. We met. We were strategic for 2.5 hours. We did 30 minutes apart, and then we went to lunch, and we had an amazing time. We got so much done in the morning. But because we knew we were going to lunch, we didn't talk. We didn't friend talk at 9. We got to business. We had our business meeting. We're business partners. We did our agenda. But that's some of the things too for you guys, is have an agenda. And you need to connect. But if you need to connect after, when you get the stuff done, that's just a great thing. But it's so funny because we tried it last week and it worked.
Yes.
We got so much done in that time frame because we were intentional about it. So sometimes you have to influence your own time.
Let me challenge you. You said we did it last week and it worked. If I go back 2 years ago in a strategy meeting, we had an agenda and it worked. If we go back 3 years ago, we always have that agenda, because I think we've always known the importance of trying to stay on track. With us both, in creative,
we are both extroverts,
maniacs. We sometimes may jump over the fence and for a second, and one of us will say, hey, come back just a little bit. But I think keeping that in mind, that you have to keep your eyes on the prize throughout it all. And when you know that you have a prize, something you're targeting towards the end, you will focus, or hopefully you will make the decision to focus, because that's what's going to give you the win, not anything else. Not anything else. So we're super excited. So although last week, we gave you the opportunities, this week we gave you the obstacles, but depending on how you look at life, your perspective, obstacles are opportunities. So everything we just gave you is another +2, +10 on the list from last week. It's just a matter of you reframing, retraining your brain so that you can get everything that your heart desires. We're super excited. We're super excited that you've joined us this week and every single week. And as we say every week, remember, there's something out there for you.
Now be intentional and go get it.